How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Good. We have 5 members then. That's great. Great. So we can go ahead and get started. Are we going to be recording this meeting today, Rachel?
Yep, the recording has
Very,
started.
very good. Very good. Well, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Connecticut Department of Consumer Protection Plumbing Piping Work Examining Board. Today is April 25th, 2024, by Zoom meeting. At this time, I would like the board members to make a motion to accept the meeting minutes of our last meeting on April 11th, 2024.
Make the motion to accept the meeting minutes.
I second them.
Any discussion? Having none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any abstains? Any noes? Okay, 500. Great. All right. We're going to go on to DCP Investigations Division. Thank you. Wow.
Good morning. Good
Yes.
morning, Mr. Chairman. How are you?
Very good. Boy, you guys have been busy.
Morning,
over the
Janita.
course-
Morning, the members of the board.
Morning.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, as you can see, we received 16 new cases from the time frame January 1st, 2024 through February 29th, 2024. And during that time frame, 26 of the older files were closed. As you know, then Inspector Mesner left DCP, went to housing. He's now back as the state program manager for occupational licensing. And also in that time, we had Inspector Corduner and Inspector Belcourt both retire. And recently, we just hired 2 new inspectors, and prior to that, about a little over a year and a half ago, we hired 2 additional inspectors. So I have 4 new inspectors who are under 2 who are here like 1 month to 4 months, and 2 who are here for a year and a half. So with Inspector Corduner coming back as a temporary retiree worker, he has been a great godsend and help to me because he went through his backlog of cases that were left behind. He went through Mr. Mesner's cases, as well as Inspector Belcourt's cases. So anything that he was able to review and close were closed so that we can move on and concentrate on the current workload.
Thank you for the update. Appreciate all you guys are doing there, Janita. And I'm so glad to hear that you've got extra inspectors now too. Are you currently up to 8 now?
No, sir, I wish. I have 6.
6.
I have 6 inspectors. And with that 6, I have 3 that we're concentrating on doing site inspections with. So we're getting out there onto the construction sites more. And I think I'm not sure if I mentioned this when you had your dual meeting on Friday with the geothermal topic and the HVAC board, but we have done 2 dual inspections on large construction sites. The first time was in New Haven, the second time was down in Stamford with the Department of Labor Wage and Workplace Standards, where DCP and DOL, we convened at a location and then as a group went on to the large sites and did inspections for the day.
I think
And
that's
they
awesome,
were-
Janita.
Thank you, Mr. Moore.
Yep, I think that's great. You guys working together doing that because it actually encompasses both entities. So I think it's a great thing you're doing that. You guys are really stepped it up. It's great, Janita.
Well, you could thank Director Brown and Manager Mesner for that because, and Commissioner Caffarelli, because he thought it was a good idea too, and he's been talking with the DOL Commissioner. So here we are.
Awesome.
Great, thank you, Janita. Does anybody have any questions for Janita at this time in reference to any of these cases? Does she need to pull any files for you guys at all on any of these particular areas, people? Rachel, would you mind scrolling over a little bit to the right with that list for me? Well, let's go to the left. Sorry, let's try the left. And then we'll scroll back up. Okay. All right, that's great right there. And we have 16 there. Can you scroll up further so we see the names at the top? Cases. Okay, everything's closed. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. That helps out a lot. Can everybody see that a little better now? Does any of the board members have any questions? Having none, we can move on. Okay. Do we have anybody with DCP Legal Division today that has anything to share with the meeting? Okay, having none. Old business, continued review of 23 Rogers Lake Trail Road, actually.
We got to make a motion to accept, Chuck, the
I don't think
report
I've
from-
done, I don't think I've done that before,
okay.
but
all right.
so this morning I have somebody that has, just for the record, a gentleman named Jerry Karp 123@gmail.com. Jerry is spelled GERRYKARP 123. And good morning. This is from them at 8:56 this morning, just a few minutes ago. I had a computer glitch. I was not able to forward this until now. Wendy, please forward to the plumbing board. If they move the well, the 25 feet separating distance to the lake, the septic area for a code compliant system may not be viable. The area is very small. By reducing the 25 feet. So this is kind of came in like to me, not through proper channels with DCP. I prefer it go through the channels of the department first, and then come back to the board for our next scheduled board meeting. Is everybody okay with that? Because you're sending me all sorts of documents on my cell phone here.
I agree. I agree.
Okay. Now let's make a motion on that we table 23 Rogers Lake Trail until
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman, to table 23 Rogers Lake Road until we goes through the proper channels.
Right, and I would prefer this go to our next meeting because they had plenty of time to put this thing through. I don't think any of us have to take a half a day off of work to put this thing through, if you know what I mean, until our next scheduled meeting, if that's okay. We've already had a special meeting before, so.
I'll second Pete's motion.
Thanks. Any further discussion on that? Okay, very good. We'll move it on to the next meeting. Have you seen, Rachel, anything come through from Jerry Karp to you this morning or to? They sent
Yeah,
it
it looks like it did. It got sent to, it was 8:55 a.m. So it wasn't received before the meeting necessarily.
Right. Okay. Do you see the documents that come with it though? Just want to make sure you have everything for the next meeting.
Yeah, there was 2 attachments and then a couple attachments from Wendy.
Right, that's what I got to. Okay, very good. We'll move that to the next board meeting. You can just let them know that we voted to, due to its delay getting to us before the meeting, that we don't have a chance to look at it. Do we have Aaron with us this morning here?
I do not see him on. No.
I spoke with him a little while ago. He might be having a problem right now. So if you don't mind, let's take a 5-minute recess so I can try to reach him on the phone. Because we have some well applications coming through, and I spoke with him maybe an hour ago, so he should be coming online or having difficulty. So let's see where that is. So if we could take a 5-minute. Oops, somebody raised their hand. John Mesner.
Mr. Chairman, you want me to try to get a hold of him? You can move
Yeah,
on.
if you don't
or
mind.
if you want-
Otherwise, I was going to do it. Yeah. If you could.
Okay, I'll try to reach out to him.
Great, thank you. So in the meantime, we do, at this point, we do have a couple applications for review. If we could, since we have a quorum, we can move on with those. If Rachel could put up the applications for Cezanne Metaj. He's applying for a P1. Is Mr. Metaj here this morning on this Zoom meeting?
Yes, I am. Good morning, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What seems to obviously came through the review committee and got brought back to the board for the whole body of the board to see. What seems to be the issues at hand you're trying to do?
The application got rejected, and I just wanted to sort of like understand that rejection better and maybe explain in person my experience and what we're seeking to do with myself and the company in the state of Connecticut, particularly in Greenwich. And it's just, this was sort of like the option once the application gets rejected. And I've never done this before, so I'm happy to answer any questions. But it's particularly that the application got rejected. I just wanted to know whether there's any additional information you guys need. I'm obviously a licensed plumber in the city and in Westchester, and I just want to better understand the rejection and whether there are any questions.
Okay. Do you currently serve as a Connecticut licensed plumber in any standing now? You're applying for a P1. It's been rejected, so it comes in front of the board. You currently have a P2 license in the state of Connecticut, and have you served a bona fide apprenticeship program?
Not in the state of Connecticut, no.
Okay. So what happens is we need to see hours of classroom-related study, including hours of on-the-job training under the supervision of a licensed Connecticut contractor. And I believe none of that has been done, sir. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's kind of what has to happen. You've got to go through training to be licensed in Connecticut. You've been turned down for the P1 because you don't even have a P2. Okay. So you haven't served a journeyman's category here in Connecticut. Oh, I see Aaron has come on now. That's great.
Sorry about that.
Oh, good, Aaron. Glad you're here. We're currently reviewing 2 plumbing applications before we get to the 3 well applications, just so you know. All right. Does anybody have anything to share with Metaj here?
Doc?
Yes, Melissa.
So what I would recommend that you go through, can we recommend he go through the Department of Higher Ed like we have done before, if there's any schooling, and they can see if there's any schooling that he's taken that might apply to this to go towards his hours for the P2? Or not?
Okay. Well, he never served under a licensed contractor in Connecticut, so he has to perform an apprenticeship too, hours. It's not just classroom related studies that he could cross-reference, right? It would be also his hours. Are you feeling he should be waived his hours?
No. I
Okay.
thought before we had referred people who are in other states to look and see what their training was. I know New York doesn't do a lot of formal training, if any, for plumbers like we do. I'm just asking if that's something that applies to this case. I don't know if it does.
Mr. Mesner's here. Kim, I'm gonna take your next, okay? But Mr. Mesner wants to cut in here right now. Mr. Mesner.
Yeah, all right, good morning. So like the chairman's saying, you do need the education. The education needs to be equivalent to that of Connecticut. I believe our application specialist, upon the recommendation for denial, should have sent you information on pathways to get that education. Did you receive that information?
I've got to check. I think it would have come from Karen.
Yes.
I've got to check. I think I did.
Okay, so I believe your application was denied due to the lack of education. Your experience can be because you have a Westchester County credential, correct?
I have a New York City licensed plumbing, and I have a Westchester plumbing license.
Okay.
So I've been a licensed plumber in the city for about 7 years, and I've been a Westchester licensee about 3 or 4 years. And I've been a plumber for about 18 years.
Okay.
And we had to go to school to get the plumbing licenses for both New York City and Westchester. So I just want to fully understand that all the years of experience and the both licenses don't mean anything. I'm starting from zero in Connecticut. And the fact that I've got, leaving the business side alone, 200 plus employees, but also multiple dwelling units and buildings and apartments. I mean, there's a huge list of projects with experience. Like they don't count at all. It's a zero.
It's not to say that it's zero, sir, but on the website, you'll see that there's a chart that breaks down the hours for on-the-job training and the hours for education. And your on-the-job training, if your credential is deemed equivalent, which in past, upon review, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Moore, we have given credit for Westchester County credentials for on-the-job training hours. But your on-the-job training experience cannot be utilized in lieu of the education. So regardless, you're going to need the 576 hours of education in or it's equivalent, because you're saying that you have some education, but your education, if it was gained through continuing education, would not be reviewed. The education needs to be equivalent to that of Connecticut. So you want to look on our website at Exhibit A. If you scroll down, and that will list out all the classes that are required for the P2 credential. Even though you're seeking the P1, you need to look at the P2 credentials. And that's what the chairman was trying to elaborate on, was the fact that you need to meet that a Connecticut apprentice needs to go through in order to qualify for the P2. Now, if you have a contractor credential, and again, it's deemed equivalent, we could look at that for the potential of moving it into a P1. But it needs to be equivalent coming in as a P2 first. So class work and on-the-job training.
Well, what did you mean by a contract credential?
Contractor.
Contract credential. What did you mean by that?
So P1, yes. You need to meet the equivalency of the P2 in order to get to the P1.
Mr. Mesner, I believe historically found though that New York City's a little lacking in equivalency to Connecticut, correct?
In the past, yes.
Yes. So that's why, Mr. Mehta, you might need to take the classes. New York City doesn't particularly meet the equivalency of Connecticut. So you need to take the educational training to continue forward.
Got it. And neither does Westchester.
No.
No, they do not.
Okay. And if I'm to be going through that training and going through these classes and actually become licensed, and that license will be tagged to the same company that I own with the other multiple licenses, will the employees that work under us, will anyone their experience be counted, or they have to go through the same process?
It's all going to be the same process. You can't engage in Connecticut. So here's where Connecticut differs from, I think, what you're used to. Everybody that engages in Connecticut needs to be licensed. So if you were successful in obtaining your P1, the individuals that are working under you need to have at a minimum a P2. They could be P1s also, but you would be the contractor record with a P1. Everybody underneath you would need a minimum of a P2. Or if you have a Connecticut program, be a registered Connecticut apprentice working within ratio. But
Understood.
all right.
Okay, well, I guess back to school.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you coming this morning.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you. Okay. We have Joel Hernandez up next. And I believe a document had come in on Mr. Hernandez yesterday sometime in the afternoon. I believe there was another document that was brought into by Karen Lehman over at licensing. And she sent to the board. Yeah, this is it here. This was written on April 21st, 2024 to us. Do we have Mr. Hernandez here this morning?
Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Good, thanks. Yourself?
Good, good. So you're applying for a P2. You want to give us a little heads up as to what's going on and why you're in front of the board this morning?
Yeah, so I was short on hours. I'm trying to get some hours from New York, working as an apprentice, working with dynamic piping. I get those hours transferred because I already have about 5,000 hours in Connecticut with schooling. So in order to get my P2, I have to get those hours transferred, and I said I got denied for lack of hours. So yeah.
You have all your classroom
I do.
completed, and you have that documented somewhere. It should be on your documentation page.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you've completed Porter and Chester's program.
Correct.
Okay. So at this time, how many hours are you short?
I'm actually over, if you're counting the ones from New York. I'm over 500. So I have about 8,500.
How many do you have registered in the state of Connecticut?
About 5,000.
And you know you need 8,000, right?
Yes, sir.
And you don't have a letter as of yet to this board from your former employer?
Yeah, I believe you just passed it. My employer from New York. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Take a minute to read that. You got your 30-hour OSHA in New York?
I got it over here too because I did my schooling over here. So in school, it's like mandatory to get it. So I got an extra one. Yeah.
Does have any board questions have any questions for Mr. Hernandez?
I do, Chuck. I just got a quick question. Mr. Hernandez, I'm looking over the paper, some of your letters and you have one from Carrie Valenti to Connecticut Department of Labor. And her records indicate you registered as a P2 with WD Mechanical in Weathersfield. And you bring a total hours of 4,935 in the state of Connecticut, right?
Yep. Correct.
Okay. That's all. And the rest of your training is in New York?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Okay. So I think he's asking us for is, he's got 1,500 hours or more. Additionally, he's worked on, so he's adding 3,000. He's trying to bring 3,000 hours over from New York.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Unfortunately, I sit on the committee, so I have to abstain on that, Chuck.
Right.
He's already gotten my answer.
What historically do we do with that? I'm not familiar with the procedure.
He did bring a letter in from an out-of-state contractor that he worked for to say that he had the time in. He got the classroom study. Who are you currently working for now, Mr. Hernandez, at this time?
MD Mechanicals.
So you are still here in Connecticut?
Yes.
Working, okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
you average 2,000 hours or a little more per year. You probably only have about 1.25 years left of this apprenticeship to complete that. Peter.
Mr. Chairman, this letter that came from Dynamic Piping, this was not presented to the committee that decides. This letter only came to us.
It was not. That was additional documentation that was received. Well, the original letter was, the committee tabled the application until he could provide the tax documentation to substantiate his letter, which he did provide.
Well, why didn't he go back to the committee again, to the committee that decides?
Timing.
The subcommittee, sorry.
That's a question for me.
Well,
Yeah,
you know,
I believe
yeah,
you should
you
go
know-
back to the subcommittee with that second letter from Dynamic Piping and show them what you have and let them decide. That's what we have them there for.
what you have, Mr. Hernandez, is a subcommittee that's made up of, it's called an application review committee. What they do is they take your information that you provided. Apparently this letter wasn't there, so they didn't see that at the time. So you have a Department of Labor person there. You also have a department person there from the Department of Consumer Protection, and you have Mr. Moore, who's a member of this plumbing board. That's why he has to recuse himself at this time for a vote as well. So I would take that letter back, put it in the go back through the review committee for the next meeting within the next month, and have them relook at that, and then forward that decision back to you. John Mesner.
Okay. All right. Good morning again. So this is the pathway that licensing services and myself as the representative for the commissioner had taken with this particular application. Again, at the initial review, we did look at this, and Mr. Moore, correct me if I'm wrong, we did look at this as a potential for hours to be equivalent to that as of Connecticut's, because he is within an apprenticeship right now, and he was working within a jurisdiction that does not require an apprenticeship, and he does have the completed schooling. So due to timing, this was the pathway that was the quicker pathway to have his application reviewed, and he did supply the additional documentation. So
I will agree with Mr. Mesner. This is what we did ask him to supply this information. We did ask for the W-2s to prove the hours.
So
Okay.
if if the board felt that it was equivalent, I believe that we felt what he had documented was equivalent. We just wanted to substantiate that what he had provided was actually accurate, which he did provide that additional information to substantiate the fact that he was actually in that employment. So therefore, he had those hours within New York in a jurisdiction that does not require an apprenticeship, combined with the hours that Terry Valenti had provided. And I know it's up on the screen, I just can't see it. But from the date of that letter to now, and Mr. Hernandez, correct me if I'm wrong, you've been working continuously. So there's additional hours on that piece from when that letter was initially written, correct? So I would leave it up to the board if the board would like to make a vote on it.
And that letter,
I'm sorry, go ahead.
I noticed that letter that was sent was dated June 5th of 23. That's almost a little over 11 months ago. So you've already got over 2,000 hours since then in Connecticut here.
Yep. So when I've been talking to him, I was talking to him for a while because my boss was already telling me, he was like, oh, you better get that letter. If you want to get accepted, you could get accepted if you get that letter, but you don't want him to pass away or something. So I was like, oh yeah, so I just been calling him. I wanted to get there early, have it early. So he wrote me that letter early. Yep.
Peter Alfieri wants to share here.
Thank you, Mr. Mesner, for the explanation. I'd like to make a motion to allow him Mr. Hernandez to sit for the license test.
I'll second that, Joe Pellecchio.
We have a motion and a second to allow Joel Hernandez to sit for the P2. Do we have any further discussion? Having none, all in favor of Mr. Hernandez sitting for his P2, say aye.
Aye.
Any denials? And I believe we have one abstain, and that would be Mr. Moore, I believe.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
congratulations.
Thank
You'll
you.
be applying for your P2 in Connecticut. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thanks for coming in.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, next application is for W2 to Gabrielle Vaughn. Gabrielle Vaughn. We have Mr. Vaughn with us today, too?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Okay. All right. We have Aaron Nachbar, our well driller of record on the licensing board here today. Aaron, do you see the documents provided by Rochelle?
I do. I'm looking.
So Gabrielle is applying for a W2. She's certain right now she does have a J1. Is that J1 active?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Hey, Peter. Peter Alfieri, please.
Mr. Chairman, did she go in front of the application review board?
I believe all these applications did, right, Jay? Mr. Mesner?
I don't remember this one, Chuck. Aaron is the well driller. I do the plumbing.
Yeah, I had not seen this. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't remember this one. I mean, I did well drilling for a short time, but I do not remember this one. Because I don't remember the asking for 3 employees to sit for the test. This I do not remember at all. This was never this was never brought to the committee. Am I right, John? Or am I missing this?
No, I would have to pull the record on it. I couldn't tell you when. I believe it was last month of the previous meeting. We did review 3 from the same company.
Okay.
So why did she get denied? What's the denial reason?
Baseline memory, lack of apprenticeship. The W-2 is an apprenticeable classification.
Yeah.
Okay.
And which is why it went before the group, because the director of apprenticeship sits on that as well. And none of the applicants coming forth, I believe, that are here today had completed a Connecticut apprenticeship for that W-2,
Yeah,
which they're seeking.
It states right here they haven't been registered in an apprenticeship. So how could we allow that to happen when other people have to go through the registered apprenticeship program?
No, I agree. I totally agree with that.
That's
Yeah,
it's not fair to the rest of the people that went through the apprenticeship program.
That is the issue. Looks like I'm seeing here. Do we have? I know we've gone through this with others, and I forget what license category it was, but we had detailed payroll. And is there some kind of way we could give credit towards documented time, legally documented time, or that doesn't count, John?
We've never done that before.
Your predecessor used to.
But the contractor of record has a W-1, correct?
Correct.
Yep.
How come the contractor of record didn't set up for a registered bona fide apprenticeship during their tenure as an employer and have these people employed without being registered apprentices?
Yeah, Gabriella's been there a long time, it looks like.
Yeah, seems like everyone's been there a long time. There's several employees. Ryan Foster's been training over 10 years, which there's more than apt time to form an apprenticeship with the state of Connecticut. I don't think it takes that long, if I'm not mistaken.
No.
At the time, they didn't have the apprenticeship program.
Okay.
Yeah,
We're just getting into doing it now.
I mean, if you go by Gabriella's time before the apprenticeship program was in place, she had her 3 years in to take it back then.
And same with Ryan.
I just don't understand why you didn't register as an apprenticeship provider immediately.
I want a little more time to review this, because this is the first time I saw this application and what's going on at Grella here. And let me go back in time a little bit and see how long Gabriella has been there, and got to read through this.
And she does carry a J2. You want to table this, Aaron, to the next meeting?
I would prefer, if you don't mind.
We'll still
Mr.
go
Chairman?
down yes.
Just to ask a question. I'm still fairly new here on the board and getting the gist of how things work. But it's not the first time that things have where applicants have come up and, as Mr. Moore said, working for a company that did not have an apprenticeship program. And I don't know what a solution is, but it's a shame that these people are hammered or disciplined for a mistake that their company made. And maybe part of their due diligence, they should know what goes on for their trade. But at the same time, these companies, and they're not the only company out there that has unregistered workers, and they end up not being able to go forward because of their employers' inadequacies.
And I believe the classroom-related instruction for W2 is equivalent to the classes that are for P2. Am I correct, Mr. Mesner?
There we go. There is some courses that do overlap in the two, yes.
So the classes are offered in not only the state program, after school, the night divisions of the trade schools, and I'm sure ABC or CEC, I should say, in Connecticut and Plainville offers those classes as well. So, or an IMTI in Waterbury can offer those classes. So, I'm not sure how the Penn Foster classes line up to those well drilling classes. Do we have any, Jay? Go ahead.
Yeah. As I'm looking over the letterhead, I noticed Grella Well Drilling Company also has a plumbing license. So, I mean, you could have registered them under plumbing or the W license. You've just chose to not register them under anything. Do you have people training as plumbers without being registered?
What was that?
Do you have people training as what plumbing license do you carry? I see it on your letterhead.
We have J licenses, J's and W's.
Okay. Do you have registered apprentices working under you now?
Everyone under us now almost everyone is licensed already.
Almost, or everyone is?
I think there's two besides these two, but we just joined the apprenticeship recently. We're signing everyone up so we can do it the right way.
You're gonna have to go with the ratio, Jay.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to understand why they've been in business for so long and just signed up for the apprenticeship program.
You fall behind.
I'm trying to put that together. Pardon me?
Years ago, everything was an apprenticeship. It was just time. The J was time. The W was time. Everything was just time. There was no classes.
Sir, I've been on the board quite a while. The apprenticeship's been there.
Yeah, I don't know how long it's been there.
Well, it's been there long enough where you should have people registered.
Yep.
Well,
that's why we're working on it.
But at any rate, I want to table this so we can ascertain exactly when the apprenticeship program went into place, and if Gabriella has verifiable time prior to that we might be able to consider.
I can verify that. I'm in the office now. That's easy enough.
You will verify that and send it to us with some paperwork.
But he's asking for. There's also three people though, Aaron. It's not just Gabriella. He's asking for three people.
I see this.
Yeah.
I'm reading through this now in a hurry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see it.
I mean, we're not just talking
you said
one
something
person.
about P1. Where did you see a P1? I just saw.
He has P at the top.
P1.
No, it doesn't state whether it's just a P, plumbing 02-08101. I don't know. I don't particularly know what license that is. Is it a P9 or I don't know what that is off the top of my
We
head.
don't have a P.
Okay.
Everything's J.
Okay. So
PLM.
So it's a J. He's referring to his
J. It's
plumber
/J is what it is.
Okay, so you have J licenses.
Yes, that's what we have.
But not everyone, not the people that are performing that work aren't all registered either.
Yes, they are.
Well, I think I'm with Aaron. I think we need to table this. You get the information from the DOL with the registered apprenticeship to see who truly is registered with you.
Mhm.
And I couldn't personally make a decision on this.
Yeah.
Well, if I did, it wouldn't be.
Well, right now,
George, whatever information you can get, Gabriella's.
What's that?
I'm sorry, I got a little lag.
Go ahead,
here.
Aaron.
If you can get us.
Say that again, Aaron. Yeah.
George, if you can get us payroll records for Gabriella, when she started, how long she was working.
Yep.
Prior to the apprenticeship period, and I think we can
I can give you the date she started.
have a little more
and
information
then
to
with
make a
Ryan-
decision.
Ryan has been here, what, 15 years, 14 years? 14 years doing,
Well, make a nice little spreadsheet and
Okay.
send it up to us. I mean, we just had some from Barlow, same thing, but he gave us, a computer printout of every hour and every tax and, going back in time. So it
Yeah.
was something that we could, point to in the future and say, if there's a precedent, somebody else comes forward, we had a logical process to let
Okay.
them go ahead. Because
Okay.
if we just go ahead and say, okay, Gabrielle, you can go do it, and then the next one comes in and you don't
Of
know
course.
or where, but you've set a precedent, it's not fair.
And if we have to take the course, it's not a big deal either, as long as the time counts. They've been here a long time.
Understood. Just give us a little time to research this properly.
Okay.
Okay, so let's go on to, we need to vote on a table for Gabrielle Vaughn at this time. Peter, I'm sorry, did you want to share something before we go on?
Peter had a question?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to make a motion to table Gabriella, Ryan, and Adam until this board gets further information, as Aaron had stated, the stuff he's looking for, and then we can make a good decision and follow through.
Second that motion.
Great, we have a motion and a second to table till our next meeting, or when the Department of Labor can take a look at the spreadsheet and the board as well, moving forward. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any denies? Okay, so moved. Okay.
And where can we send that information to?
I will give that question to Mr. Mesner.
Did he leave?
You could forward the information to Karen Lehman, with whom I believe you guys have been communicating with as the application specialist. Is that correct?
Okay,
Yep, and then she'll get it back to the board administrator to get it distributed out to the board.
okay.
Okay, thanks for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I believe that was the last, application. So does anybody have anything else to add? We're gonna move
Yeah.
the Rogers Lake piece.
Sorry, we didn't actually make a motion for the first application, Metage. So if we could do that to get it on the record, please.
Okay, that motion was, we denied because of lack of apprenticeship, right?
Yeah, I think we did make a motion on it
Yeah, we did.
because I abstained, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You did.
I think Pete
Do you know
Alfieri
who
made
made
the,
then I missed
I think
it. So do
Pete
you-
made the
who made the
I think Pete
motion
made
and
the
who
motion.
I
seconded?
made the motion on that one.
and I believe Aaron seconded it. And I abstained, Rochelle.
Okay, I had that for Hernandez, so.
Hernandez, I made that motion also to let him sit for a test.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, does anybody else have anything to add under new business? Anybody have any comments or concerns? Having none said, we'll end this meeting before we go into, I'll ask for a motion to end this meeting, and then we'll be going into our task force meetings with the heating board members after this. Thank you, everybody, for appearing today, and we will be adjourning shortly, and then we'll be going on to the next meeting. Can I get a motion?
Motion to adjourn.
Thanks, Pete.
Seconded.
Second by Aaron. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
So Chuck, just to be clear, the task force is the few people we chose last week, right? So the rest of us can go.
Yes,
Okay, thanks. See ya.
thank you.
See ya. Good
Thank you.
luck.